And fantastic. Well, saw you on the call. It was great to see you there, and it seems like you're a man of action from what Carly was saying.
Trying to be at least.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I've got a short little video that it kind of introduces me, so I can give you that
Okay.
link later on. But let's concentrate on you. Could you tell me your story and how you got into real estate? Why real estate? And yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I look ridiculous.
I know we always do on camera.
Looking rough.
Yeah, look
Um,
at me too.
yeah.
I need a shave this morning. It didn't bother.
I had to double check my calendar because I thought it was Graham Norton. I thought I was going to be on the Graham Norton show. So
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm only my I'm only mildly disappointed. So
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
still excited though. But
Yeah, yeah.
thought
So
it was
I'm
Graham
still a
Norton.
Graham. So
Right.
probably not as
Um,
this is Graham Norton yet.
yeah. So basically the quick version of it was I was managing a mixed martial arts fight gym that led me into
Oh,
marketing,
okay.
and I was working marketing for a local company that had 5 locations. They're a cool, hip and trendy place that really crushed the market with the kind of guerrilla marketing and just being more aggressive than everybody else, even though they're much smaller than like they could push around Oakley, like a
Yeah.
company like that. They could make demands of a company of that size. That's how aggressive that they were, and they got
Uh,
they got away with it. So I jumped on board with them, and then I went as far as I could go with that company and learned a lot from them. Still actually do business with them here and there within real estate. Um, and then I was ready for a change. And my mom had been trying to get me into real estate for years. She's a residential agent.
oh, right. Okay.
So I said, you know what? Why not?
Yeah,
So,
right.
because, when you're not making a ton of money, you don't have a ton of reserves, the idea of not getting paid for 6 months is a really tough pill to swallow. And it was just
Yeah,
me. It's not like I had, a spouse or anything like that with additional income.
right.
So they said, you know what, if we're not going to let you starve, if you need, some help along the way, we'll help you out. I was like, okay, cool. You
Mm.
know, not one for handouts, but like it's nice to know that you have the safety net there if you need
Right,
it.
right.
So I
Yeah.
jumped into commercial, actually went really well. It was just me and my mom. She was my broker. So I got hands-on training, and thankfully the first year I got like the strangest deals that you could possibly get in real estate. I just remember my mom constantly saying, "How did you find this deal?" Like I've never come across a situation like this in 15 years.
Wow.
So I got some good education, and did that for 6 years. Got a little bit burnout, honestly. Just dealing. I like residential. Obviously, within this community, we deal with residential real estate a lot,
Mm.
and residential agents a lot, and there are some great ones out there, but most of them suck. Um, and I say that as a former residential agent. Like a lot of them are just terrible at their jobs.
Right.
But I I didn't like kind of dealing with the daytime drama that is residential real estate of dealing with the personal lives of residential clients,
Mm.
because that's an inevitable part of the business. And some say
Yeah.
you're an adult babysitter, and I don't want to be that cruel, but a lot of times you're a
Right.
psychologist. I mean,
The
you're
counselor and
on.
everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're on call
Yeah.
essentially. I mean, till about, I mean, I've worked on deals until midnight or 1 in the morning before, as long as the other agent's up and they're not mad at you for contacting them so late, you're working on a deal so you can get
Mm.
more done the next day. And I didn't like that aspect of it. It was
Right.
like I could set my own schedule, but if I didn't fill up my entire schedule with showings and, stuff like that, I wasn't going to eat. So it's like you have flexibility of schedule to an extent, but you
Mm.
really don't, because you have
Right.
to be ready to go. If they want to go see something at 8 in the morning
Yeah.
or 8 at night,
Been
you
there,
got to
done
show the
that. Yeah.
house. Right.
That's right.
So it was like, yeah, I had a little bit more flexibility, but not a lot. And
Mm.
so even with the, making more money, it was still a definite trade-off. And I didn't like that aspect of it. And then I got into commercial 2 years ago, officially, I think yesterday or the day before.
Mm.
And I appreciate the coldness of it.
Mm.
I've said that a few times when people are like, what's the big difference? I was like, I appreciate the coldness of it. You know,
Yeah.
in residential, they're like, oh, I don't know if little Timmy is going to like the shape of this room. I don't like
Right,
the paint
right.
color.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, paint is the simplest thing in the world to
yeah, yeah.
change.
Yeah, I know, I know. It's amazing the
Easiest
way they do
thing.
that.
And it's amazing. They're like, I don't like the color of that wall. It's like,
Right.
okay, but what about the house
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
4 bedrooms and the pool and everything else that you told me you had to have on your list? I'll
Mm,
pay for the freaking paint to get colored.
right.
Do you like the house? Nah, it just
Mm,
didn't feel right.
yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't happen in commercial, man. They
No,
break out a
no.
calculator and go, cool, IRR is 10%. Let's do it.
That's
Like,
right. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it, you know?
You touched on something I haven't thought about too much, so that's kind of cool. But definitely feel that, So it's probably why
Yeah.
I'm doing commercial as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then my wife and I had tried to buy rental property, traditional, 20% on that whole nine. And that was going to eat up like all of our savings. And
Right.
it was going to be, it was right when all the rates started jumping up. So the rates
Mm,
went up like point and a half or something in like a 3 day span. So it
yeah.
completely killed what little cash flow I calculated that we were going to get. And now, after having dealt with actual property owners and stuff and learning how this works, I probably was already even or negative,
Mm,
and I just didn't know that I was.
right.
But anyway, it went from a small cash flow to probably being $100 negative. And if I was wrong, $300 negative. And I was like,
Right.
that doesn't sound like a winner to me, even though
No.
long term I was going to lease option it. So the numbers probably still would have worked long term.
Yeah.
But the idea of losing $300 a month on your first property is
Yeah.
a tough pill to
Usually it's
swallow.
a tax thing, a tax maneuver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
If you
then
have a
I
lot
was
of
like,
money.
how do people do this like
Yeah.
4 or 5 times a year? Like, I don't understand. How are you coming up with 50,000? You go, you buy a house. How are you coming up with $50,000 again within the same year to go do it again?
Mm,
Or 3 or 4 more times? Like, that didn't make any sense.
yeah.
So I'd heard somewhere about somebody buying property zero down. So I YouTube zero down, and I found Jerry Norton wholesaling. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You can just flip paper and never even own it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
interesting. Okay, noted. So watch a few of his videos. Seemed like just a solid guy, and got to meet him 2 weeks ago, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I saw this little thing up on the side. You know how it previews the videos you should watch next, or suggested videos, and it's
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
bought this house, it was $0 out of pocket. So I was like, click, and it
Yeah.
was Pace. And
Yeah.
I watched videos until like 3 in the morning. And then I was like, okay, here's the path. And then when I went from residential to commercial, and I found out how much more creative you could be in making a deal happen, I
Mm,
said, wow, really don't know anything about real estate. Like,
mm,
it was a big, you know, humbling moment when I got in, and I realized I knew like the lingo was totally different. I knew that going in, and I was going to have to like figure out the lingo, but it's massively different. Like, you have
right.
so much more freedom. A blank sheet of paper is how you start a contract. And like, you know what I mean?
Mm,
It's like you have so much more freedom to get deals done, but you also have so much more freedom to get in trouble if
yeah.
you really don't truly understand what you're doing.
Right.
Residential, you fill in the blanks.
Mm,
So you're given guide rails, essentially, like bumper bowling. You can't really throw a gutter ball as long as you're just filling in the blanks.
mm,
The
yeah.
title company or your broker, somebody's going to catch it, right?
Right. So it's
Commercial, you can actually lose people millions of dollars if you don't really understand the asset class and what you're truly doing. And then I found Pace,
mm,
and I realized, wow, I really don't know shit about real estate.
mm,
Like, there's so much beyond even what
right.
they do in commercial to create deals and make deals happen and to come up with solutions.
Mm,
And you're not bound too much by like the federal housing laws,
mm,
because you're not selling something to a consumer,
right.
and you're not acting as an agent. So it's like you have the flexibility to, like, if I want to sell you a Corvette and 3 goats, and you'll take that as, what I mean? It's like, it's just so much more creative. And
Right.
novation agreements. I'd never even heard of a novation. Like, that just kind of blew my mind. It's like, why not just partner with the homeowner?
Yeah.
Why not become partners? And it's like, so anyway, all of that to say is that's kind of my story, and that's kind of
Mm,
how my evolution of thinking has gone. It's like, now I feel like I have the ultimate kind of ability to be creative and surround myself with creative people and smart people that are
Mm,
doing the things that I want to do
yeah.
in order to achieve. Whereas before not getting that first house, I was like, how is this possible? I don't
Mm,
understand it. This can't be how people are doing things. And it's not.
right.
I just
Right.
didn't know it.
Right.
In my limited, residential agent brain, I'm like, I do real estate.
Mm, yeah.
I wasn't doing real estate.
Yeah.
That's as you know, and being in commercial, the building owners in commercial know far more about real estate than almost any of the agents that are practicing real estate because
Yeah.
they live it and breathe it all day long, every day.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. That's a great story. And you've
I'm
got a
long-winded.
whiteboard
I
that,
know.
no, no,
I'm
you've
long.
got a whiteboard there that seems to be full of activity. What's, I can't read it, but, it's like backwards, but
Yeah.
what's you actually concentrating on right now? What's your niche in
So
commercial?
right.
Yeah.
So within commercial,
Yeah. Or are
okay.
you doing residential as well now? You're doing
Yeah.
both,
So
are you? Yeah.
so within commercial, it's kind of weird because I just moved to Central Florida from Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
So Wichita is where I was born and raised and grew up. I just moved down here to Central Florida in a town called DeLand, which is like 20 minutes west of Daytona or like an hour north of Orlando.
Mm,
I just moved here like 4 months ago. We just hit our 4 month mark a couple days ago. Um, so I still have my license in Kansas and I'm still with my company in Kansas.
okay.
But obviously I can't show properties and things like that. So it's a little bit different. I'm kind of working with a couple of investors and kind of scouting for properties for them.
Okay.
And they're targeting single family portfolios and small multifamily. And so I'm really trying to stick with that kind of multifamily. I'm trying to like push my way into multifamily because that's where I ultimately want to be. I still really like
That's
small
cool. Yeah.
small industrial like flex warehouses and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Industrial just fascinates me. I mean,
Mm,
big buildings, big machines and stuff like that just fascinate me. I mean, fascinates any kid and it still
yeah.
fascinates me to
Oh,
this day.
yeah. Some of the machines.
But as far as within the sub two community, I'm just, doing a little bit of wholesaling to get some money to help smooth things out here. I'm studying for my Florida license right now,
Okay.
and I'll be doing commercial here
Okay.
for a company out of Ormond Beach, which is right north of Daytona Beach.
Right.
So, and
Yeah.
I've kind of dragged my feet on that. Like
Yeah.
I made a mistake of studying on my own for the test, which is it's not a hard test as we all know that have been through it. It's just doing it on your own. That is the in 2 week in-person class. Just do it. Just knock it out. Carve out some time, knock it out.
I agree.
It's,
I went in the classroom. It's far better. You get,
yeah,
the teacher giving you examples which stick in your mind. We
yeah,
had a good teacher, so it was very good. I
yeah,
did the real estate exam twice in my time. The first time round, 2005, and then the second time round in 2017. I passed it first time because we had a good teacher. It was a classroom. I would
yeah,
recommend that. Yeah, and
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I would encourage you as well not to bother with the small apartments. If you're looking at that, go large. You're
yeah,
much better on scalability and less problems and things, more professional level, deeper underwriting and issues and things like that. And it's the same amount of work, but the scalability is much better.
yeah.
I
I've heard that.
First time rounds, I did smalls. I had a 5, a 12, a 24, 30, and 32, and a few singles, of 100
Mhm.
dollars. And the scalability was the biggest problem. Getting management for those properties, they steal money from you because you can't get the highest level property management on those.
Oh,
It's difficult. And also on the maintenance side, because there's always maintenance issues. It's
yeah,
hard, again, it's hard to do that on scalability, and make it cash flow. So I wrote a small little book, Cautionary Tales from Real Estate Investing, the first time round on that. That's on Amazon. But uh, recently, found in July, I found myself in the classroom, 3-day workshop on large multifamilies, and it
yeah,
lit up for me like a Christmas tree in my brain. I thought, oh, those are all the things I should have done better. Those are the things I
yeah.
did. wrong the first time. And it's not that much more work. It's of course capital raise is the biggest component because we go anywhere
Right.
from 10 million all the way up to 100 million. But because we're playing with bigger figures, you're going to
Hmm.
reach your financial goals in a much shorter period of time than messing with the small stuff. And
Oh,
also,
really?
you're going to have the time freedom, which you're probably doing this for as well. So
Yeah.
you're going to have a lot of time off as well. So I love that aspect. And I think it's the only aspect in real estate, only niche where you can see the time freedom, you know, because one or two of these deals a year will radically change your financial, you know,
Yeah.
situation. Yeah. So I'm writing a
So,
couple of books right now,
all
demystifying
right.
commercial real estate investing, and
Okay, that's what that is. Okay.
yeah, that's what that is, and it's coming out very shortly. It's written. I've just got to put the cover together, a few technical things, so that'll come out soon. And also investing in large multifamily solved. That book, both books about 160 pages long, about 33,000 words. Contains all the terms and terminology, the underwriting, the things to watch out for, the things to look at. Because you get the offering a memorandum, they're very difficult to read unless you're trained. I mean, the sellers or the broker, whoever's presenting it, or put it together, those figures have got some hidden stuff you got to figure out, right? You got to look behind the curtain, you know, else you find yourself in trouble. So
Yeah. So,
I've created a YouTube channel, Daniel, if you want to check that out as well. I've got an educational thread on there. Um,
okay.
to demystify commercial real estate. So about 15 videos right now.
So do you focus exclusively on multifamily?
Yes,
Okay.
it's the only thing that really makes sense. I'm
And
building
do
a
you
community around that. Yeah, yeah.
are I know you own, but do you only own or do you capital raise to get equity? Like
Capital
what
raise.
what what
Yes.
hats do you wear within?
Yes, so I'm on the GP side, the general partnership. Do you know how they're constructed? You've got the general partners and the limited partners. The limited
Right.
partners are the passive, the general partners are finding the property, the acquisition manager, you've got the asset manager, and you've got the capital raisers. Okay, so that's all essentially on the GP side. So
Okay.
I do acquisitions and I want to do the asset management as well. So you can wear multiple hats. I'm building up my team. You have a sponsor, of course. A sponsor is somebody who has the experience in that asset class and the net worth equal to or greater than that asset class that you're getting, and also
Okay.
10% liquidity. So they can sign the PSAs, and what have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So when
So
we
you
find
kind
a
of
deal,
wear all of those different hats or
yeah, at the moment I am, because I'm
okay.
putting my team together, so I'm getting this together. That's
Yeah.
the idea of the YouTube to pull people into the community, see who's interested, so you can help me. Because as I say, I was only focused or niched down from July this year, so it's a
Yeah.
relatively uh, I got focus. I had those what do they call it, brainwave type of things. This is my niche, this is what I've been
Yeah.
through in the past, and I can learn from my mistakes. I can niche down, and I can do it. I don't need $50 million in the bank. You find the people who got the money to deploy. You
Right.
find your team, you build your team, and we can all win together. And so
Yeah.
one of the other wonderful things about this is that you can do both. You can carry on doing what you're doing, and when an opportunity comes up, you could be a passive investor. Make good rates of return, or you can play the other roles as well. So it gives the full flexibility in
Yeah.
getting into these things. I mean, Pace does it. That's where he gets his money from. It's
Yeah.
not all these businesses that keeps the doors open, and all his employees and what have you, and the
Right.
running costs of his business, that pays for all that. He's
Yeah.
getting his money, his own pocket money from multifamilies, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, predominantly. Yeah, he does have a few singles, but that's when his CPA tells him you need a little bit of tax write-off, so he
Right.
does a few sub-2 deals, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
So you're a Gator also?
I am
Is
indeed Gator. Yeah, yeah, one of the originals. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Hmm.
I was actually looking for somebody for my folks to speak with. Just joined Gator and they're working their way through the videos. I actually joined originally as a Gator and I've been so focused on sub two, I've kind of ignored that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Um, but so they're retirement age, and they've just watched their 401k just get decimated the
Oh,
past couple
wow.
of years.
Yeah.
So they need something that like I mean, they're really truly in like kind of their dream house of retirement and stuff. They really don't want to move, but they actually put the house on the market for about a month
Oh, wow.
because they're just like, we don't know what to do. We have no income now. And we're just watching our savings and our 401k just dwindle away.
Mm.
And so, I said, they joined Gator and I was like, guys, this is everything that you need to like solve your problems within this community. You just got to get active in the community. And I've introduced them to like Michael Matsikanian, and then Colin Yep. I think they're really interested with doing stuff with Colin Yep
Yeah.
potentially. Also Lance Reagan as well. But nobody kind of really Colin did a little bit. Nobody really kind of understood the position that they're in, where they
Right.
need some income, but
Mm.
they're also pretty risk adverse
Right.
because of how much money that they've lost putting their money in the quote unquote safe place. They've
Yeah.
lost,
Yeah.
like
Right.
$250,000.
Yeah.
So they're like, we understand it. We're in. They've kind of crossed over the precipice of like, okay, we understand we have to put our money to work for us. We have to do something with it. We understand that there's risk. But they, I'm just trying to introduce them to different folks that put money to work at different paces and in different avenues
Mm.
because there's the EMD stuff which is really hard to find and they'd have to actually go out and work and look for it for them
Mm.
to actually find that and they're like yeah that's we enjoy being retired and hanging out with our grandkids and I'm like okay
Yeah.
so you're going to have to either lend on other people's deals or you're going to have to become like a limited partner or private money partner or something on other people's deals so you
Yeah.
still get a couple you know $2,000-3,000 worth of income every month
Mm.
passively and you don't have to actually do anything.
Right, right. So it might, we can talk about this further. I've got a call in a couple of minutes, another,
Okay,
but I'd love if you book another call with me, Daniel. We can go into that a deep dive on that.
sure.
Also check out my YouTube channel because there are opportunities that we can talk about on our next call. Maybe book it
Yeah.
next week sometime, and
Um,
we
I
can.
am leaving for Europe on Monday and I'll be
Oh,
gone
nice.
for two
Okay.
weeks. Yeah,
Okay. Well, whenever you're ready, enjoy that. Definitely. I'm
for sure.
envious. Okay. I wish I had some room in the suitcase. I come with you. But that sounds great. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, check out my YouTube channel where you have a few bored moments,
I'll be bored on the airplane. So
Yes, okay. You'll probably consume a lot then on the aeroplane, right? Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And let's see what we can do to help each other in this business.
Okay.
I've really enjoyed your story. I know we can
Okay.
help each other attain our goals in this business,
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I'm about is relationships. So
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, Daniel, I look forward to our next call then. Yeah. Have a
okay, thank you
wonderful
so
time
much.
in Europe. All right. Say
Thank
hello
you.
to my folk out there.